Hey guys, I'm Nick, and today on the Scran Line we are going to be making an animal cracker truffle cake. So for those of you who don't know what animal crackers are, they're these cute little animal shaped crackers, and they either have pink or white icing on top with lots and lots of little rainbow sprinkles. I think they are the cutest thing ever. So today I'm actually teaming up with Fancy Sprinkles to bring you this cake. They have an animal cracker mix. They actually have lots and lots of different sprinkle mixes on their website. I'll pop the link in the description box below for you guys to check them out. I needed any excuse to make this animal cracker cake, and as soon as I saw that mix on their website, I got it, and it's going on this cake. It's going a lot on this cake. Now, before we get stuck into today's recipe, if you haven't subscribed yet and you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified as soon as there's a new video up, hit the little notification bell. That way YouTube will send you an email or a notification on your phone, and you can watch the videos as soon as they're up. Now guys, click up there to watch me make my vanilla cake recipe. That is the recipe we're going to be using for today's cake. I've actually tripled that recipe because we're going to be using the cake on top to make the little truffles. So if you want the full measurements and the instructions on how to do that, hop over on my website, scranline.com. The link for that is in the box below, and make that recipe. So we have actually flavored my vanilla cake with a little bit of strawberry flavoring. And that one is actually colored. I should say that because that flavoring is colored as well. If yours isn't colored, just add a few drops of pink food gel in there and mix it up. Once you've made your batter, we're actually going to be lining a large baking tin, and I'm just going to spray that with some oil and line it with a little bit of baking paper. So pour 1/3 of your batter into that baking tin. Spread it out evenly using a spatula. We're going to pop it aside because we're going to prepare our 3 8-inch cake tins for this cake. So we're going to be using 2/3 of the batter, or the remaining batter, to make this part of the cake. You want to spray the bottom of your 8-inch cake tins with some oil spray and line the bottom with some baking paper. Then you're going to evenly spread out that butter in your 3 8-inch cake tins. Once you've got that butter into your cake tins, you are going to pour some rainbow funfetti sprinkles on top. I also got this from Fancy Sprinkles. You're going to use a knife just to mix that in there. And now guys, the way I like to do this, rather than mixing the sprinkles in with the batter and mixing it all together, by the time you've actually done that and you're ready to pop it into your cake tins, the colors can bleed into the cake batter and it causes the batter to go a little bit gray. So I like to actually make it the last thing I do before I bake the cakes, pour the sprinkles on top and then mix it into the batter, and then it goes straight in the oven. There's minimal mixing, there's minimal chance of those colors bleeding into your wonderful pink cake. Once you've got everything ready, bake it for about 60 to 70 minutes. It's a little bit of a slower, longer bake for my cake recipes. Once you've got everything baked, you just need to let it cool down, and we're going to move on to decorating. Our cakes have baked and cooled. We are going to trim them and we're going to put all of this together. Now this part is called the crumb coat. It's basically filling the cake with some buttercream frosting. I'm using my Swiss Maroon buttercream frosting today. You can watch the video on how to make that up there if you click on that thing up there. I don't even know what it's called. Let's begin by adding a blob of buttercream frosting on top of our 8-inch cake board. You can use a larger cake board if you like. I just don't like the cake board showing outside of the cake. I'm just a little bit weird about that, but if you want to use a larger one, you can. We're going to add a blob of that onto our 8-inch cake board, and we're going to pop the first layer of cake on top. Once you've got that on there, just firmly press it down so it sticks to the cake board. Now, I should say, I've actually got this on a cake turntable. If you don't have one of these, it's okay, but it makes decorating your cake so much easier, and they're actually not that expensive. You're gonna pipe a ring of frosting around the first layer of cake and fill it in with some more of that buttercream frosting. Use your small offset spatula just to smoothen that frosting before you add the second layer of cake on top. And guys, you're gonna repeat that until you reach the final layer of cake. Now, this next bit is called the crumb coat, and it's all about trapping those cake crumbs in the first layer of frosting so they don't show on your beautiful final layer of frosting. So to get that crumb coat on there, I'm just gonna pipe some frosting on top and around the sides of the cake while I spin my cake turntable. I'm gonna use my little offset spatula just to smoothen out that frosting. And guys, it doesn't actually have to be perfect. It's just like a rough layer of frosting. Get it nice and smooth. I'm a perfectionist, so I like to get it super smooth. So to get it nice and smooth and even around the cake, I use a cake scraper or a bench scraper. You can grab these at a decorating store, like a cake decorating store, and you can grab them online as well. We're gonna go around the cake and on top of the cake. Once you've got it looking nice and neat, you're gonna pop this cake in the fridge for about 4 hours. I actually like to bake my cakes the day before, and then on the second day, crumb coat and fill them, and on the third day, do all the decorating. Let's move on to making our little cake truffles. So we've got that cake sheet that we made as well as the cakes. We're going to crumble all of that cake into a large mixing bowl. I'm gonna add some more of my Swiss meringue buttercream frosting in there, and we're just gonna mix it up. You can use your hands or you can use a wooden spoon if you don't wanna get them dirty. We're also gonna be adding some rainbow caviar sprinkles in there. Again, you can get these on the Fancy Sprinkles website. Again, link down below if you want to check out all of the different sprinkle mixes they have. Now, because I'm not amazing at rolling cake balls, because it's essentially what these are, I'm going to be using a mold. If you are great at using like rolling perfectly round cake balls, you don't need to do this part, but I've got a silicone mold. It's a small silicone mold, so about the size, a little bit smaller than a golf ball. I'll leave the details of the size in the written recipe so you can grab those details there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill each cavity with some of that cake mix. We're gonna squish it down, and then I'm gonna use a knife to kind of level all of that off. We're gonna pop this in the fridge for about 20 to 30 minutes, let that cake stiffen before we take them out carefully. They should come out really easily. Then we're gonna pop a cake pop stick into one half of those cakes. We're gonna dip it into some chocolate. Now I'm gonna be making white and pink cake balls. So you're gonna need 2 different chocolates. Dip it into whichever chocolate you're gonna coat it with, and then let a little bit of the excess drip off before you sandwich it with another half of the cake ball. Now that is your cake ball done. What you're gonna do is you're gonna let these chill in the fridge again for about 20 to 30 minutes before you dip them in some more chocolate. So you're gonna coat the entire thing in some chocolate, let that excess chocolate drip off. You can tap it on the side of your bowl. That helps it come off nice and smooth. And while it's still wet, you wanna sprinkle it with some more of those rainbow caviar sprinkles. You're gonna let these chill for a final time in the fridge, and right before you're ready to pop them on the cake, you're gonna very carefully twist that cake pop stick out of the balls, and they're ready to go on the cake. Speaking of the cake, let's finish the cake. So to finish the frosting for the cake, well, to actually make the frosting, we're gonna be coloring it with some pink food gel and flavoring it with some more strawberry flavoring. You wanna mix that until it's well combined. I've just popped that frosting into a large piping bag, and we are gonna pipe the frosting around the cake, starting at the bottom. When you get to the top, frost some more frosting on the top. We're gonna be using our small offset spatula just to smoothen off the top as much as you can. It doesn't need to be perfect yet. We're gonna come back to it in a bit. But we're gonna be using our cake scraper to go around the cake and smoothen the sides of the cake before you use that cake scraper to smoothen the top. Now guys, if you want me to make a video on how to get perfectly smooth cakes and edges, let me know in the comments down below, because I'll make a video if you guys want to see that. We're going to be using our animal cracker fancy sprinkles, and we're going to be putting that around the cake. So the effect that I want to get is like a sprinkle ombre. So you start heavy on the sprinkles down the bottom of the cake, and you have a little bit less sprinkles as you go up the top of the cake. The way I like to get that effect is by actually throwing the sprinkles on that fresh frosting, and it sticks to the cake that way. It's a little bit messy. You're gonna need to vacuum afterwards, but that's the way I like to do it. What you can actually do to save the sprinkles that are gonna be coming off the cake is actually put a tray underneath the cake's turntable so it catches those sprinkles that come bouncing off the cake. Now for the swirls of frosting that go around the top of the cake, we are going to be making some striped frosting. Now the way I like to do this is actually lay out a large piece of plastic wrap on top of my workbench. I've got my white and my pink frosting, my crumb coat frosting, and the outer layer frosting. It's just leftover frosting. We're going to be popping it into two separate piping bags, and we're going to be piping stripes next to each other of those two different colored frostings onto the plastic sheet. Once you've got about 20 of those stripes piped on there, you're going to carefully roll it into a log, and then you're going to twist each end. You want to snip off one of the ends, and you're going to pop it into a large piping bag fitted with an open star tip. Now guys, if you want more details on the equipment I'm using in this video, hop over on my website because I've got all of my equipment that I use over on the website in the equipment page. Now the last thing we need to do for this cake is make the white chocolate drip that goes around the top of the cake. So to do that, it's as easy as popping some white chocolate and cream into a microwave safe bowl. We're going to microwave it for 20 seconds at a time, mixing each time until it's nice and smooth. Now you can make this ahead of time and then come back and warm it up right before you're ready to use it on the cake. You don't want to warm it up too much though, because it'll melt the frosting. So just enough that when you put some on your finger, it slowly drips down. That's how you know it's good to go on the cake. Now, there are two ways of dripping onto the cake. You can pop your ganache into a piping bag or a squeeze bottle and kind of drip it around as you turn the cake turntable. Now, another way that I've kind of discovered, I didn't actually invent it, but I actually like this method better, is by pouring all of that drip ganache on top of the cake first, and then using your little offset spatula to kind of encourage it to go to the edges of the cake. And then when it's at the edges, it just naturally drips down. And I think it looks a little bit better this way, but you can do it any way you like. We've got our drips on there. We're going to frost our two-tone swirl on top of the cake. And guys, we're gonna finish this off with those beautiful animal cracker truffles. And that is my animal truffle. That is my animal cracker truffle cake. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, make sure you hit the like button. Again, you're gonna find the recipe on my website. If you love this video, make sure you're subscribed and hit the little notification bell. Now guys, I just want to say a huge thank you to Fancy Sprinkles for teaming up with me on this video. I love their sprinkles. I have a huge box of their sprinkles in my garage and I just love it. Like, they have all these different mixes and it actually gets the creative juices flowing. So go and check out their website and make something awesome this weekend. Now guys, if you enjoyed this video, well, there's loads of other videos on this channel. Go and check them out. Click over there to subscribe and click over there to watch more cake recipes. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all on the next episode of the Scran Line.